Before we begin this episode of LJPCBM, episode number 1541, there has been difficulties that I'm having with this episode of LJPCBM, okay? I got some major highlights regarding this original file for this episode of LJPCBM, but apparently, I have some issues, okay? With that one original file that wasn't saved. Apparently, that I have to tape this episode, says, "Hello guys, Lou Jerry speaking. Welcome to LJPCBM episode 1541. Today we're reacting to this Tony James episode of Out of the Box, Purple Rose podcast episode. And then say, whoa, this is the new logo. And we'll react to this beginning in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. And then we show up to some balls and things like that. And up until that, and then we show some spots and say continue on, blah, blah. And fortunately, the last second, my computer file was set. The file I have in this episode was apparently lost. Because I had some difficulties trying to find that episode. And apparently I took a break because of what's been going on, because of difficulties I'm having with this episode. But apparently I am back doing this episode of LJPCBM and start over from scratch because I want to get this out of the way and I just want to get back in the swing of things and start off from there. So thank you for your patience. Let's get on the episode of LJPCBM episode 1541st episode of edition of LJPCBM. Hello guys, Sujaro speaking. Welcome to LJPCBM episode 1541. Today we're reacting to Purple Rose podcast episode number 41 or 1101. So we get it. It's called Tony James from Out of the Box and Stop. Now, I've seen him before as a kid growing up in Playhouse Disney. Now, and mostly on Disney Plus. Now, if you saw it recently, you know there's been some changes with Purple Rose podcast. I've seen the new logo. I've seen everything else that comes with the Purple Rose podcast logo, and I'm like, wow, that was very exciting. How he did that, Kerry Simpson, by the way. And if he's watching this now, I would like to thank him for giving me the opportunity to do this. And if it wasn't for Kerry, LJPCBM wouldn't be here today. It started up with Purple Tales and then Purple Rose and then mixtape Lodge, which I'll get the reaction about this in momentarily. So that being said, let's react to this beginning in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
I'm Kerry Stinson, and my journey through life has been quite an adventure. For over 20 years, I played Barney the Dinosaur on tour, and 7 seasons of the hugely popular TV show, Barney and Friends. Now, my journey is to bring together friends and guests from all over the entertainment world for inspiring and at times amusing behind-the-scenes conversation.
Wow.
I'm Kerry Stinson, and this is Purple Roads.
Wow, okay.
Welcome to Purple Roads. My name is Kerry Stinson, and as always, I'm thrilled you're here. I say this each week how excited we are, but we really are excited this week because this is someone that you all fans have been asking for a long time.
Wow.
And I've been a fan of his work, and I'm just thrilled to have him here. This is Tony James from Out of the Box. Tony, how are you?
I'm great, Kerry. How are you today?
I'm so good, and I'm so glad to get you on the show.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here, honestly. I really appreciate it.
Well, my pleasure, and it's an honor to have you on this show. Obviously, we have a lot in common from your show and kind of both how we grew up, but you've done so much else. So I kind of want to get into all the aspects of your career.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I've been in the arts my entire life. I was thinking about it recently. You know, we have a lot of time to think these days, and that's a great thing. And you know, I realized I've been performing in the performing arts since I was in elementary school.
Oh wow, wow, that was amazing right there. Continue on. Anyway.
I started playing cello and singing and narrating plays and things like that in elementary school, which was, yeah,
Well,
I loved it.
so what was the trigger? Do you know that got you interested in it?
I think I just reacted. Music was really the entree for me. I loved music and I loved songs, and when I grew up, radio was a huge
Wow.
thing, right? And especially during the 70s, like all the story songs,
Wow.
were really great. Like the great singer-songwriters who would tell you these stories, and I loved listening to the melodies. I love listening to the lyrics. I love imagining what was going on, and that hooked me. And then when I got into
Wow.
elementary school, I had the opportunity to join the one of the orchestras, and I played cello.
Wow.
I played cello and sang and stuff, and it just got me. And I remember one of the first songs we learned was John Denver's Annie song.
Wow.
Do you remember that?
Wait, hold on. What's it?
John Denver's Annie song. Do you remember?
Wow. Wow. Let me see. Oh, it's all about It's all about. Continue on.
I
You
do.
feel up my senses. Yeah. So yeah, that just hooked me, and I don't know, it just spoke to me.
Wow.
And yeah, I've been in the arts ever since.
Wow.
Well, and I'm guessing as we're going to go through this, it's kind of prepared you for the things you did later, because obviously you sing,
Wow.
you do voiceover, acting. I've seen you play guitar. I mean, there's just so much that you've done, and we're going to talk about Stomp as well.
Wow.
Was that something that you had planned from the beginning to learn different things, expand, and try different areas of the performing world?
I don't know. I don't know that so much. I mean, I think I was just so. I just found it so engaging. I just found it's expression, right? It's feeling and it's expression, and that's been the through line. Like everything I do, it's about the feeling. A lot of it's not preconceived. It's just what feels right, and then okay, how do I, if I have to employ certain techniques to express this, fine, I'll see what those are and make it my own. But it's always been about the feeling, and just one thing led to another, but all in lines with creativity and expression. Does that make sense?
It does.
Does.
It absolutely. By accident, I've tried a lot of different things in the performing world. Some I was not very good at.
Wow.
But just feeling the need to try those things. Is that a little bit of what you're talking about?
Well, yes, and I think you said you weren't very good at it, and that's always something that that's come up. I've spoken to a lot of other artists, and we have this judgment on ourselves. Oh, we're good. Well, we should do something that we're good at, and that judgment is usually in our heads, right?
Right.
But I really think the things that you trying something or going for something that you feel, that's really the only thing, the most important thing, right? Yeah. And sometimes we create and express and it comes out the way we intend or it doesn't, but I don't think labels, like I wouldn't say it's good or bad. What's good is that we go for it and that you explored, you answered something.
And let me make that clear, that's exactly how I feel about it. And it was singing. And I took classes, I was a piano player and I took classes.
Wow.
And just I couldn't do it. I couldn't hit the note. I couldn't do things.
Wow.
My teacher said to me, if your voice was as good as your passion, you'd be incredible. And she gave me an A for the class, and I'm so glad I did it.
Yeah.
Because I always would have wondered. So
right.
So I've learned sometimes it's okay, and then you pick a different path.
Right. You have to explore something, right? You have to explore something, and that's again, that's the most important thing, that you follow your heart. I mean, that's a through line in my entire life.
Exactly.
How things turn out, we don't control that, right? All we can control is, to the best of our abilities, if we go for it, you know.
So, do you remember what was your first professional job?
Oh, my first professional job.
I'm going to throw all kinds of questions.
That's okay. Yeah. I think
there's no right or wrong here.
Wow.
I'm just curious.
Yeah. I think my first professional job. Okay, well, professional as in I got paid to do it.
Yes.
Wow.
There was in junior high school. I was in a band, called, ready? It's a good thing you're sitting down, called Electric Death, right?
Wow. I had this question about Electric Death. Is it metal or something? I don't know. Continue on.
Junior high school. My friends George and Tito Gonzalez were brothers, and we had this band in junior high school, and we called Electric Death, and we got hired to be part of this documentary called Continental Drift, done way back in the day. And it was about all the plates moving into the continent and all that continental drift and all that stuff. So I think that was my first professional job.
Wow.
Where I got kind of paid for it to be in this thing, and it was great. I think I was in the 8th grade maybe.
Wow.
But then after that, really, the next thing that professionally, I think, well, actually, when I was at, I went to Berkeley in Boston,
Wow.
and I was hired to do some sessions while I was there and play some gigs and stuff. But then, really, moving into the professional life, I got in a band after college, and you know who was my bandmate because you interviewed him. Oh. Sean Altman from Rockapella.
Wow, which I talked about in LJPCBM before. Continue on.
So Sean, we had a band called Blind Dates, and
wow.
Right, it was my first touring experience. We toured around the country, and we were supporting this group from Australia called Eurogliders, and then we did a whole bunch of touring and supporting people like Greg Kinn and Laura Branigan.
Wow.
And, just a whole bunch of people. So, and that tour was my first tour. Wow. That was my first tour, and that was so exciting because my whole sort of life, it was go on the road, man, get on the road, we're an American band, the whole thing. So
wow,
that was my first.
And what were you doing? Were you playing guitar?
I was playing drums, actually.
Drums?
Wow.
Okay. Yeah. I was playing drums.
So that was that the first instrument that you?
That was the.
I've seen you play guitar, and obviously I've heard you sing.
Right. So the drums I began playing in junior high school. So my first instrument was cello, and then when I got into junior high school, I actually wanted to play guitar then, but that wasn't available. So I ended up I went to trumpet first, and then I just got hooked on drums. And I had a wonderful band teacher who let me play drums. So I started off with basic percussion, snare drum and bass drum and all that stuff.
Wow.
But he would let me come to school early in the morning before school was supposed to start and practice. And so, that just, Mr. Caruso. Yep. Strongly influential. So drums was it. And then I just I just went with that. That's really was so exciting to me. And I don't know that it was specifically the instrument that really got me. I mean, again, it's all creativity and expression, but I think the physicality of it, I loved playing music. It was always about playing music, and it was exciting. So then, I played drums in junior high school, and then I auditioned for and was accepted at the High School of Music and Art, New York City Fame School, which was fantastic, and continued my studies there under Justin DeChocho. And it's funny. Thinking about this, people recognize it as the Fame School, LaGuardia, right?
Wow.
Right. But I was actually there the year they made Fame.
Oh, wow.
Really, where the producers and directors came to the school and auditioned people, and they created this whole thing called Fame, which was originally entitled Hot Lunch.
Wow.
They changed the name to Fame. So some of my friends are in the film, and I was just a sophomore at the time. But anyway. So I continued my education with drums at Music and Art, and then I went on to Berkeley and studied more. Yeah.
Well, it's got to be exciting at an early age. You're touring with all these people, and you're at these schools with all this stuff going on. I mean, to have that going on at an early age, it's got to be a little overwhelming and exciting. And where do you go and what do you do? And
well, I had a conversation with a friend of mine a really good friend of mine, and he's produced stuff with me. He's an amazing guitarist, Larry Mitchell, Grammy-winning guitar player, engineer, and we've been friends for decades. And we're talking about this. It doesn't seem when all of your friends are doing it. So I went to arts high school, and then I went to a college. Everyone's doing it, so it doesn't stick out. And I was fortunate enough to be born and raised in New York,
Wow.
right, New York City. So that so it's all around diversity, all the culture, all the everything, and
Wow.
people are just doing things. So you, it's a big deal because you're happy that you get to be involved in things, but it doesn't seem so unusual because all your peers are doing the same thing.
Wow.
Does that make sense?
It does. It makes
We're just around. And I'm just fortunate to be born in New York.
right.
Yeah.
It
Wow.
makes a lot of sense, but it's fascinating.
Yeah.
We're here in Texas. I'm here in Texas. I was very fortunate that Barney happened to be here, but we're not surrounded by it, right? We're not surrounded by it. We've had some productions and we've had some things,
Right.
and obviously I've been to New York many a time. It's the energy of it, and all that excitement is just unbelievable.
Wow.
It's magnificent.
When did you get into Stomp? Where does this come in?
So
Now, before we get to Stop, I was originally came up with the idea of faking, looking at the article, looking at Stop, but that was scrapped because, at IMDb, because I was looking at Totally James' article on IMDb, but then all of a sudden my computer was full, and looking at his, it was a stage show, really, but, and I couldn't find it anywhere, so that's just me. Continue on. Anyway.
Stomp came in '94, I think.
Okay.
I
Wow.
had been touring, playing as a session musician.
Wait, 94, let me see. As you know what, Stomp. Never mind. IMDb. Tony James. Stomp. Let me see. I don't see him in Stop because I was looking everywhere for him. But eventually it was on my mind. So soundtrack. There we go. No, it's a bad decision. No, I don't. Self. Okay, that makes sense. Anyway, Stomp. Oh, Stop. It's 95. He was on Today's Show with Jay Leno. Okay, makes sense. Anyway. Thanks, okay. Stomp Performer, Roseanne 95. Okay, that makes a lot of sense, Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, okay. Okay, let's continue on. Listen.
And I had done fortunately had a whole career as a drummer, as a session touring musician, as I said. And then I had an opportunity. It's kind of a funny story, but anyway, I had an opportunity to take another tour, and with a known artist. And at the same time, I got invited to audition for Stomp.
Wow.
And I kind of, you learn when you're, well, you just go for it. You say yes, and you go. If something speaks to you, you just go for it. And I thought, and when I was actually chosen, I said, you know what? I can either do this thing that I've been doing, or go somewhere else that's also speaking to me. That's a greater form of expression, because now I'm incorporating more acting skills and more movement, and there's a wider field of expression and exploration. Wow. So yeah, that came about, and I was very fortunate, and I joined an amazing cast, an amazing group of people.
Wow.
Who I respect to this day. Just the creators, Luke Cresswell and Steve McNicholas, all my cast members. Amazing. What an amazing show. Have you seen Stomp, actually?
I have seen Stomp.
Yeah.
I seen Bed to Stop. That was it.
Yeah, I'm still blown away by what I see.
Was that hard to step into?
Um,
Because it's got to be a very physical show.
it's extremely physical, extremely physical. But I've always been physical, so that's great. And I had so much musically. I had such a foundation, so much experience. I had, fortunate to have like toured and done all this stuff for years before Stomp. So I walked in feeling pretty good about my ability to pick up things musically and I was very comfortable being on stage, my whole life.
Sure.
But it's its own beast, and that's the thing about Stomp. It kind of almost doesn't matter what you've done before because Stomp is Stomp.
Wow.
It's its own culture, it's its own thing. So I was again very fortunate. I had great people sort of bringing me up to speed, and I kind of learned the show at the time in a very relatively short amount of time because it usually took it doesn't matter. I went in and I did what I had to do. I was very, very, very fortunate. And it was so much fun. The tough part though was my funny thing is my first show. You go through all the rehearsals and you do the blocking and we have the rehearsal before the first show. And I'm doing all the stuff and like, okay, here's my block, here's my cue, this and that. Now, also Stomp, it's all in your head. There's no speaking.
Wow.
So you have to memorize 90 minutes of music, top to bottom. Nothing repeats. It's not verse, chorus, chorus out. So you have to have all that in your head. So, and it's a lot of physicality. You're using a lot of unorthodox instruments, to create music.
Wow.
And you have to be in sync with 7 other people. So there's a lot to it, a lot of concentration. So we have the first, we have the rehearsal for the first show. Cool, great. Marking, blah, 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 blah. Okay, great. First show comes out. Start, okay? Everyone puts their hands in. Good, let's do it. Go out. Show starts. First routine is called hands and feet. Oh, no, I'm sorry. No, first routine is brooms, actually.
Wow. Okay.
We do that. I'm like, cool, got it, know my stuff, good, move it back. Then we go into hands and feet. And you're doing the stuff, and I'm remembering my marks, and remembering my music.
Wow.
And we hit a certain point. Now, these routines are not 3 minutes long. These aren't 3-minute songs. Each routine is like probably a good 8 minutes.
Wow. Wow, Tony. Okay, makes sense.
Right, or more.
Wow.
And I'm just doing my thing. I'm like, okay, great. Inside, and you got to look at so you're not speaking to anyone. You just give it to the audience. And all of a sudden, it hits me. I'm like, wait a minute, my legs are burning.
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Uh-oh, this is only the second routine. I have 12 more routines to go. And I'm already like fatiguing. And you just like, there's that thing, like panic starts to set in because you're like, I have to physically I have no choice. Like there's nothing. I have to keep going.
No.
It's only the second routine. And so I push through. We get to the last routine, which is called.
I'll be right back. I'm back, folks. Sorry about that. I was going to get some, in a few moments, I'm going to get some smells I'm doing for food reviews, episode number 716. So, without further ado, thank you all for your patience. Let's continue on where we left off. So, Tony, let's continue on what you saying what it was called. Anyway.
And it's the ones with all the garbage cans.
What's that?
The last routine, which is called bins, and it's the ones with all the garbage cans, like everyone knows it, and there's garbage cans and garbage can lids and pipes and all the stuff. And you again, because you can't speak, you have to listen to the music, and there are musical cues, right? And so there's this one cue in bins called, where I have to go and put on these things called skirts, and they're these big
Okay.
plastic drums.
Wow.
You wear like that, and the music, dun 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 dun. So what I did was to put on your skirts, right? Rehearsal, I go do all my marking, I run to the back, put on my skirts. The guy back said, "Hey, you want me to help you get it on?" I'm like, "No, I'm good, I got it. I know what I'm supposed to do." Cool. That was rehearsal. Showtime comes, put on your skirts. I go to the back. I am so out of breath. I can't
Wow.
speak. I'm like,
Just wow, Tony. Do you want
want me to? And I've got like
You couldn't breathe. Wow.
2 bars of music to get ready and be out on stage and look like I'm on it. I run to
Wow.
and I go out and do the thing and act like it's all great, but I'm like, I need to be on a respirator. I think nobody told me how incredibly tired I would be, how exhausted I would be. And it was just sheer determination to get through it. So that was the hardest part.
Wow.
It's just that you just don't know. Like, oh my God, this is so.
Oh my, yeah. That was his first time saying, "Oh my God." Wow. Just wow, Tony.
Exhausting. But then, like anything else, you build up your tolerance and all that. But that was the difficult part. But you're having so much fun. It's such a fantastic show, and I'm so grateful to have been involved in it.
How many shows did you do?
7-8 shows a week.
Oh wow.
Yeah, no.
Wait, hold on. What you say?
7-8 shows a week.
7, 8. Wow. Okay, continue on.
Oh wow.
Yeah, no, it was full New York, theater.
This was off Broadway.
Yeah, Stomp is in New York. It's considered technically off Broadway.
Oh wow.
Because of the location, but everywhere else in the world is Broadway.
Wow.
And that was by design by the creators. They wanted to keep that downtown East Village vibe in New York, but every other house across the country, and I did some of the touring as well. They're all Broadway houses.
Was that fun to tour?
Yeah.
Okay. Makes sense. Yeah. Okay. I'll be right back. I'm back, folks. Sorry about that. It's in a delicious hot smo that goes with a poppy candy Hershey's chocolate bar that I just got recently. And it's a food review episode. If you want to go check out my main channel right now. So anyway, let's get back to the episode. Let's figure your patience anyway. So we'll get it. Let's continue on.
We had some fantastic times. Again, I love audiences. I love being with people. I love that connection, the relationship between the person expressing on stage and the audience receiving, and what we get back from that. That's always been it for me, the live situation.
I've got to think that some of these, even in New York, some of these people are seeing the show that don't know what to expect, and so there's got to be these cool reactions to this show of, oh my God.
Wow.
Yeah, it's wonderful. It was wonderful to see their faces, and brilliant with Luke and Steve. And
Wait. Yeah, I saw Luke. Yeah, I saw it. If you were talking about Luke on LJPCBM ads, yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Continue on.
All the original Brits who created that show. It just, what's so brilliant is that because there's no language, there's no barrier.
Exactly, Tony. Continue on.
All emotions, it's all acting and reacting, and what you don't expect is the humor. You don't expect the musical humor.
Yeah.
You don't have to. You can tell a musical joke by just what you play, just by the tones, by the rhythm, and then of course the actors further enhance that with their facial expressions and body language. But it's so brilliant because it could play anywhere. right? Other countries, and just it doesn't matter. Everyone relates to emotion and feeling, and everyone gets it.
That's it. I'm with you 1,000%. That's exactly what's so cool
Yeah,
about
or
that.
1,000,000%, Carrie. Exactly. Continue on.
That anyone can. I mean, it's the language of music, right? And everyone understands that.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I know as I'm doing this interview, everyone's going, ask him about Out of the Box.
Sure.
So I've got to go to it. So where did this come from? Come in your career?
So let's see. This was after touring after Stomp. I was playing. Yeah, I was doing my own music, playing guitar, singing, playing in bands and stuff. And um, I got a call from my friend David Yazbek, and I don't know if you know who David Yazbek is, but he's a Tony and Emmy Award winning musician, lyricist, writer, composer.
Wow.
And he let me know that Disney were shooting a pilot for this show, and that he heard about it, and he said, I think they've already cast it, but I recommended you to the executive producers, and he told me about the character. And he said, I think that you would be great for it. So maybe they'll give you a call, maybe they won't. It's just one of those things. Throw your name into the hat. And so, sure enough, I get a call from them and says, you come highly recommended and everything. Would you like to come down and meet with us and we can tell you what's going on? And I said, of course, absolutely. So again, never intended in my life thinking like, oh, I'm going to be in children's television. Right. But it was just another thing, So yeah,
just an opportunity, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Just again, creativity, expression. Okay, fine. So I went down and met with Douglas Love and Ellen Gustenberg Kent, and they laid it out for me, and they essentially said that they were looking for someone who would come in, that they had this clubhouse, and there was one person who would bring the kids to the clubhouse, and they would do 5 minutes of music with the music person and 5 minutes of art with an artist, and and that was that. And I said, we're looking for someone who can act, who's a musician, who can play percussion, and actually junk percussion would be great. Who can work with the kids, and they said, and who could sing, and who could do all these things. And then he said, so what do you think? And I kind of laughed. And it was the only time I've ever done this. I was like, well, what you just described is what I do. And, that's what I do. And I had, even prior to that, I had worked with the Urban Youth Theater of Henry Street Settlement in New York. So I was a composer and musical director for some of their plays. And so I was used to working with younger people, and obviously the percussion stuff and the junk percussion with Stomp and all that stuff, and I can act and I can sing and all this stuff. So it just made sense, and I thought, of course, I'd love to go for it. And they're like, great, we'll put you on tape and send it to Disney. And that was that. But an interesting thing, like I said, was that there were originally 3 adults. Right? And so, yeah, my character was just the music guy that they would visit in a section of the box, and Viv's character was they would do art, and I think her name originally actually was Marcy, and mine was supposed to be Dave.
Wow. Well, what was it?
Actually was Marcy, and mine was supposed to be David.
Wow.
And so we didn't even use our real names initially, but we shot the pilot, and the person who was leading it was more like I would term more like a Blue's Clues type character.
Sure.
And he would bring in wonderful, talented guy. Anyway, we shot the pilot. They, what came back after they did the testing and just said, hey, we actually, I guess they feel like we don't need 3 adults with 3 kids. And so they offered it to myself and Viv, and one of the things that I said was that I would like to use my real name I just felt that would be they agreed be better interaction with the kids, make it more authentic.
Okay.
And so so that's how Box happened. And we just went in and did what we could do.
Okay.
Yeah, well, and it turned out to be a huge hit. It's been very successful,
Yeah.
and people absolutely love it and love what
Yeah.
you did on that show. And Viv, obviously,
absolutely.
the two of you.
Yeah.
She is magical. She is absolutely magical.
Exactly.
Well, so I'm smiling as you're telling these stories because this is where the connection comes in to start, because I never planned to be children's entertainment as well. That was not my plan.
Right.
Not that I really had a big plan, but I wanted to be in the industry, and I wanted to be a performer, and I had never actually been in a costume. And they said,
really,
I'd never been in a costume. I was a piano player in college.
Wow.
And well, it's kind of like you said earlier. This is what the connection is. You said you just do it, right? You just say yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure, I can do it. And then I could.
Yeah, and Tony was in shock, saying, "Really?" Continue on, anyway.
Out later, and I got asked, "Can you dance?" Sure, I can. I couldn't dance. It's a famous story I've told on this show a couple times. But my mom was a professional dancer, so she taught me how to dance. And so you just do it. You just go for it.
Right.
But I learned very quickly the responsibility of being on a kid's show, and it's absolutely changed my life.
Wow.
What the kids, the audience gave back to me is the most incredible thing. And I got to tell you, I was so touched watching you on your Instagram feed the other day. I think it was TikTok, reading letters from people that have sent you and what you have meant to people. And it's obviously been important to you because authenticity is the key to all. This is why it works.
Even though I saw it back when, I saw it on Out of the Box's feed at the time, on Tony James' YouTube channel at the time. Back then, Tony and Viv sang the Goodbye song on the news report on Tony James' YouTube channel at the time. That was my experience back in the day. Like, that was like, wow, Tony. And like, what is happening? And by 2018's news report saying, I have an album coming out, and then to be honest, like, I'm a mom. That was my life, and she was a teacher. Blah blah. I'm like, wow. Years back when DJ Bob did an interview of Viv, it was celebrating his 5th anniversary of DJ Bob's show at the time. I haven't done reaction videos of DJ Bob's show yet, but when I do, I'll do it. But right now I'm reacting to some things. Certain things I'm doing those reacts as of now. But DJ Bob's show did a 5th anniversary special back when the 5th anniversary special happened. But when that happened, he did Viv did a goodbye song without Tony at the time. I saw that, like, wow. I was only almost in my 20s thinking, what is going on? And I'm in my early 20s, thinking my knowledge, thinking what's going on. It was like that simple, so there you go. But then 2021 news report, that was like early this year when I first saw it, thinking Tony and Vinny say goodbye song. So that's why I first talk about it. But yeah. And then like 3 years later, sometime May 2024, Tony did attend a con called the Nostalgia Con. It was at San Antonio, Texas. I haven't talked about this on those reacts at the time, but he was at Nostalgia Con, and I did originally going to talk about this second part of the show of LJPCBM, but say scrap episode, but I couldn't, but because I wasn't gonna say that in that portion of the episode, but I couldn't do it because in the beginning part of the episode of LJPCBM, I said that he was at Nostalgia Con. Now, to be fair, Nostalgia Con was a fake in 2024. Tony at the time, Bob West, Josh Barr was in that thing. Now, in 2022, I met up with Josh Martin, the costume actor who did Barney. And he got me an autograph along with Bill Farmer, Jason Mars, and so many other celebrities. The recent ones I met, which I'll get to that in the LJPCBM Pupper Rose podcast a little bit, which is Joy Benson. And another one I have autograph from is Richard Horvitz, who is Alpha 5. Continue on.
If you're in children's entertainment, because kids can understand fake and cheesy and all that stuff, and it's obvious watching both of you how important this was. When did you start realizing, and I understand it's a character, and I understand it's TV, but it is children's TV, and there's an importance to that.
And there are several things with that. That was paramount to the creators. Douglas Love was very we need to make this. This has to be real. And anything that I did, I always wanted to make real. It doesn't matter what I'm doing, singing, right, dancing, sweeping floors. Make it real. You have to show up. You have to be yourself, because not only does the camera not lie, but you don't want to lie. You want to have authentic connection with people. And yes, you're using certain parts of yourself, but it's still you.
Yes.
Right? So that the whole idea of authenticity has been paramount in my life, period.
Yeah.
And one of the people that I had the good fortune to work with who really epitomized that was Fred Rogers. And I worked with Fred.
Wow. Yeah, rest in peace to Fred Rogers, because I have these Fred Rogers soul thing. Yeah, that, and it was probably his spirit thing that got me hooked. So I had that, and I have some Spirit of Mr. Rogers notebooks in the time. One of the Mr. Rogers had autographs. Now that makes more sense, and that had to make more difference. Along with the Jim Lehrer, how to describe it? Snow Globe. That got me hooked to do this, and sadly, Rob McNeil, who got me inspired to do film and TV, passed away early this year. Now, both Robin and Jim Dainbo, the creator of Northern Orange, Robert Raven Fox of Bob Show Raven Fox Audio, who have been Bob Show, who's a movie and comic book reviewer and sexual goddess, got me inspired to do film and TV over the years. You, Tony, got to work with Fred Rogers. Wow, I'm so jealous of you. I don't know what to do. Continue on. Anyway.
I had the opportunity to work with Fred before Box, and this was years before Box when I was in Stomp, and got to spend time with him and talk to him. And what I love about him was that was him. There was, when the cameras were off or you're talking to him back in the offices or whatever like that, it wasn't a different person. That's who he was, right?
Wow.
And a definite adult person, right, just like all of us, but that authenticity that just so resonated with me. So and when I got Box, I actually reached out to him and let him know that this sort of thing kind of out of the blue happened, and I know he's very happy for me. But you're working, yes, there is a responsibility, and I think your responsibility is to tell the truth.
Okay.
Right? To tell the truth and come from the best place you can conceive of.
Wow.
Yeah, not to get too heavy, but...
No, I love that. And it's funny you say that about... I never thought about that using your names. I think that just adds to it.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely. Because when you're not, rolling, the cameras are not rolling, you're interacting with the kids. And the kids were wonderful. I mean... And so they wanted that relationship, right, that you develop with them to transfer onto the when you are rolling.
Box, yeah.
So we just such a fantastic group of people, such a fantastic family. So again, so grateful, so honored to have been part of that.
Yes.
It's funny you mentioned Fred Rogers. I met David Newell, who played Mr. McFeely, and I was going to say you probably met
Even though I did react to David Knowles' episode, though, to react before. Continue on.
David as well. My early days in Barney, we did an event in Houston, Texas, and he was there.
Wow.
And I was already starstruck because I watched Mr. Rogers as a kid all the time.
Wow.
And he was as himself, David, and he introduced himself. And he went in this other room and he changed in, and the door opened, and he said, "Speedy delivery." And I just nearly, and he went right into character. I mean, he was right there. The authenticity you're talking about. And I was like,
wow.
This is incredible.
Yeah.
And this is incredible. They understand that. And so it's amazing.
When we first, when the episode that we did with Fred was really eye-opening to me, and in terms of observing all of us as human beings and performance. And so Stomp, which you've seen, it's very like, aggressive and gentle and fun and stuff, but there's a,
Right.
there's a thing. This is
Wow.
is factory, New York, downtown, and when you bring the heat, you bring the heat, right? You bring the comedy, but you bring the heat. So we're all there, and everyone's, even man, women, all of us, just tough guys and whatever, getting in our characters. He shows up, and we're like little kids.
Wow.
Just him walking in and saying hello, and we're sitting there with our hands full, like we're behaving, Mr. Rogers. And it was so funny. I'm like, look at all of us. All that tough guy stuff went out the window, and we just wanted to behave for Mr. Rogers to show him that we were being good, and we were also. It was it's just so much. So it's a similar thing where you just like, oh my gosh,
And then how was he with that? What you were doing?
It
was his response and all of that.
Oh, he was himself. It's what you would expect.
Wow.
He was fantastic. He was just engaged with everyone and gentle and interested and encouraging, just very loving and so yeah, he's fantastic. He's the what you saw. That was Fred. And again, having the opportunity to spend time with him even after that was so wonderful, and having being conversation with him, he was truly authentic. And so when Box came along, that was something as like, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this not to specifically emulate him, but to say yes, authenticity. Find the place in yourself, find the thing that's real for you, and then express that in your way, in your voice. Because that's the only way you can do it, right? You're trying to play music like somebody else, or trying to paint like someone else, or dance or sing like someone else. The singing thing. So this is something that we're all very sensitive about. And there's this saying that comparison is the thief of joy. We have the voices that we're given, and we all, I firmly not just believe, but I know we all have something to share and to say, and it can come out in so many different ways. We're not limited, but our job is to use our voices, literally and figuratively. That's our job. That's our only job. What anyone else does, what anyone else thinks about it, that's not up to us. That's not our purview. I believe that we're here to express who we are, to define it for ourselves, and then express that and allow for growth, allow for change as well. Anyway.
No, I love that, and I think that's the importance of shows like Out of the Box, because kids, when you're a kid, right, you these shows teach them to grow up and to have confidence and try and be creative. And then when we become adults, we worry about stuff and we stop doing stuff. And the reason I got on that stage was because I had parents who were encouraging, you can do anything.
Right.
and it's one of the greatest gifts my parents ever gave me. My dad was like, why can't you do that? You know, and
Is your dad a performer as well?
he
Would you
was
say
he was
mother-
he was a drummer.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, he was
Wow.
a drummer. Mom was a dancer. Sister's an artist. So everyone is.
Wow.
Great.
We've
You come
all
from an
tried
artistic
different
family.
things,
Yeah.
and so, but not everyone has that. And you see it for kids that would take all these chances and do these incredible things, and then they become adults, and it's whatever it is that stops them. It really is something that it kind of bothers me.
Well,
Yeah.
That maybe it's society or whatever it is. And I will tell you, there is an aspect of social media that I do like. That some people just get out there.
Wow.
And just do, they do them. Well, we have never been as artists, we have never been in a better time, right? So again, my experiences are I keep saying that, but it's true. I sit in so much gratitude for my life. I've taken my licks just like everybody else, but but I'm just so grateful for the things I've been able to be involved with and the people I've been able to interact with, like yourself. But the I had a band called Maggie's Dream.
Maggie Street. Wow. Okay.
You know, Maggie's okay. Capitol Records, fantastic group of guys, fantastically talented, just amazing, unique, all New Yorkers, and we would go places, and even with all the support that we had from the label at the time, we would show up places, and our names wouldn't be on the marquee. And again, this is way before internet. This is way before social media. But even with the support of a label, even with and like real support,
Right.
we just couldn't get out there. Distribution was a thing, I mean, like you needed the larger corporations just to be heard, to be seen, right? And then even if you had that, that still was no guarantee
Right.
Wow.
that you would, that your name would be on the marquee, or that anyone would know that you were there. And there was only MTV, and if you didn't get played on MTV, that was it. But now you can write, shoot, record everything and get it out to the world. So, and that's wonderful. That's absolutely wonderful. There's a lot of freedom in that.
It is. It's funny you say that. Barney was on PBS, and it was a lucky thing. Someone happened to watch it. They called, and it got on PBS, and it was canceled after the first year.
Really?
It was canceled, and they're having the wrap party, planning on the second season, and it was canceled. And luckily, the parents, the moms, called in all their local stations and basically saved it. So
Wow.
I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah, because it was there was only 3 shows at that time. It was Shining Time Station, and it was Sherry Lewis and Lamb Chop.
Yes.
Wow.
And Barney, and they had decided they could only do 2 shows, and then they had to bring Barney back. Thank goodness for that. But yeah, I mean, there was just not those opportunities. So I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah. So I'm curious. Can we go back to like your first experience being in costume? Like you weren't a puppeteer per se. That wasn't your training. You had to they just asked you and you said yes, like without any. Yes, of course you. I mean, and you could sing and you could do, but like, what was that like? Because that's not easy.
So I did it. You're gonna really laugh about this. I did it for birthday parties. So
Wow.
what had happened was they had done a few videos. There was 3 videos out there. It wasn't even a TV show at this point. And a lady in Texas went to them and got an official license to have birthday parties where Barney showed up at your birthday party in the Dallas-Fort Worth area.
Okay.
Wow.
And so the person that was doing this was going off to college, and they needed someone else, and someone knew I was a musician and said, you're in the business, you should try. I went and met her and kind of auditioned, and she said, I'll call you, and the next part. She'd never called me. So I found her number, and I called her, and she said, I've actually already hired someone,
Wow.
But he asked for the first month off. Could you do a month? And then I'm going to try and have a second team.
Oh,
Wow.
I got really good at it. She kept just me. Then the TV show happened, and they needed a second person. So I came and did the second person.
Wow.
Then they said, "Do you want to tour?" Next thing I know, I toured all over the country for 5 years. And then they said, "You want to do Barney and Friends?" And I did the TV show for
Wow.
12 years. So it just
magnificent. Just
Yeah.
kept going.
just
Wow.
kept going. Just kept going. So I know exactly what you just take a chance and
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I was told no.
congratulations to you. That's magnificent because it's I mean I was just thinking like I was able to rely on my face, my facial
Wow.
expressions to communicate things. It's so difficult because I mean
Wow.
that costume also has to weigh a certain amount. It has to be
Right.
really warm inside. But you still have to convey things and you have to sync to somebody else's. I mean, that's really difficult. Kerry.
Wow.
I applaud you.
Well, thank you.
That's really
It's the kids.
Yeah.
There's because you can feel it. I mean, I remember doing a show in Minnesota. I've told this many times, but 16,000 people.
yeah.
Wow.
16,000 people
Wow.
come to see Barney, and it's the power of it because there's just lights. There's no, now we have to have all these sets and all these things.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
There was nothing other than Barney singing and dancing. Obviously, I'm lip syncing for
Mhm.
30 minutes to entertain 16,000 people, and they're singing every word, and they're hugging their parents, and they're kissing their parents, and I've never seen anything like it. It's the most beautiful thing I've ever
Yes, it
seen.
is. Yeah.
It's incredible.
Wow.
16,000. Wow.
It's incredible. But I saw that with your show, and I think that's what's so cool. I was watching one today, the Goodbye song. Obviously, that was very popular with your show.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw it was one with the pumpkin,
Uh-huh.
where you just grab
Yeah.
the pumpkin and
Which I saw many times, on the Out of the Box episode 1 point, and then the holiday ones, which I've seen bits of it. And I did record one time in 2003 for Christmas Eve. And at that point, I never get a chance to record again after the nose episode, and the sniffles one. That was it. And then after the sneeze ones. No, not the sneeze, what is it? The shoe in your muffins, but no, that's not it. No, that episode's called Nose one. The nose episode. That was it. But no. The nose episode was the last one recorded on TV. But after the 2 episodes, I never watched it. I haven't I haven't got a chance to watch it again. That was it. That was just basically it. And then years went on. I mean, Stephen Simons, if you watch this now, Drew it one. He told me this. He sent me an episode Out of the Box, and where he said at that time it was 2017. This was way before Vimeo that shut down. I think he sent me the camping episode, and I was like, wow. It's like the itchies, like that's hilarious. So I came up with the idea of making an episode, writing all down, materialize editing like a random video of Family Guy episodes and then itchy scratchies, and I'm like, wow, it's hilarious. I can't come up with the idea about it. It's a random video I came up with. I'm like, okay. It's like for example, it's like it was like, what the hell? Okay, and it's like, and Peter's like, oh yeah, we're gonna bury the. Get out of it! Enjoy your day! That was one of my writing videos I came up with, and it's like, yeah. That was one of the writing videos I came up with. But yeah, no, in all seriousness, but yeah. But then years went on 2 years later when it came on Disney Plus, I was very excited. I had to watch the very first season of Out of the Box right after the very first season of Recess when it came on Disney Plus. When it first launched. Suddenly, when I watched the episode, the break-in, New Kid episode, I was solely faking. It was traffic decisions that caused Disney Plus to not have it not make it work. So I called Remix, and Patrick Butler told me this. Okay, he said the following, and I quote in the comment section. He said it was Disney Plus' fault. Why do they have to do this? I'm like, you told me, Patrick. Why just Patrick Butler? This for you. And I called Remix, and he said, try. I tried to call Remix, and he tried to tell me this. And he said, Remix, and he tried to tell me this. And he said, well, that's a tribal decision between Disney Plus and other things, and the rest is history. So I had to watch Recess, the very first season, back to back from season 1. And then after that, I watched some of the season 1 out of the box. From back to back. When Disney Plus launched. I'm like, okay, makes sense. And that was the rest is history. Then after season 1, 2, and 3, and Recess and out of the box, completely, I had to get back in the swing of things. And that was a big success with Disney Plus when it first launched Disney Plus. So I had to get back in the swing of things. And that was it. I haven't watched Out of the Box ever since. I have to download this on Disney Plus ASAP so I would get back in the swing of things. Continue on.
They did kind of a stomp thing on that, and I thought, well, that's just brilliant. That's just it felt so authentic. It's so natural.
Hold on, I'll be right back. Back, folks. Sorry about that. I was just going to take a few things real quick. Let's continue on.
You just grabbed it. She was like, perfect. I think it was just so simple. It's kind of what we're talking about here, right?
Right.
You didn't really need all this stuff. It was just the two of you in a pumpkin.
And what you have, yeah. The people often ask me about this, and I think about the show is more, and you probably have a similar experience. It's more profound to me now what was actually really going on, and this whole idea of coming together, getting into a clubhouse, and in this clubhouse, you draw from what's there to create something.
Okay.
Right? You come together and you each bring something, and you pull something that's already there, pull from something that's already there, and you create this whole thing. So if you're telling a story and there's a river, take this blue cloth and we'll wave it. Just so many different things. And this whole idea of the internal clubhouse.
Wow.
We come together, or you come inside and you pull from whatever is inside you. Right?
Wow.
You show up in a situation. You and I get together, don't know what's going to happen, but if you show up fully and bring everything that's carried, every experience in your life, and I show up and I bring every experience and say, okay, so we're pulling from our clubhouses. What do we want to do? Oh, we put it together in ways what neither one of us, independent of each other, would have come up with, and that is profound. The importance of showing up.
Okay.
And whatever, being fully present. That just hits me in so many ways. That's why I've been able. One of the reasons I guess I've been fortunate and able to do different things is I just show up.
Wow.
But Box was about that. You didn't need external things because it's never ever about out there.
Wow.
It's always about it here. No matter what way you slice it, it's always about what's in here. It's never about out there.
Exactly, Tony.
I love seeing that in life. I love seeing that in Box. So yeah, it's the end of an episode, and okay, goodbye song. Oh, it was a pumpkin. Huh? Okay, great, or whatever it is. And I just love that. I love that.
Mm-hmm.
What was that like for you? Because obviously I had that experience. In every episode we sang the "I Love You" song, and it's magical. For people that don't understand. When you're filming a show like this, it's, producers and directors and camera people, and it's an empty, it's a big studio that's empty. And you're singing this song just looking at some walls.
lens.
Right.
Wow.
But it's magical every time. It's as soon as that song starts, like all the performers could just feel. We knew what we were doing.
Right.
We knew that it meant something to all those kids. And oh my gosh, that song's playing. Same with your song. So when you're doing that, do you get a little chill to it? Does it energize you? What do you go through doing that?
The whole experience is energizing.
Mhm.
Viv and I, because we're in front of the cameras, we get all the attention and all the credit.
Right.
But
Okay.
you know very well that it takes a village, as they say. It takes a whole slew of people to make this thing work. Our job just happened to be in front of the camera.
Wow.
But, writers, producers, directors, lighting guys, makeup, everything, and knowing that everyone's come together for this singular purpose, which is to bring this goodness and this light, that whole experience is energizing. So yeah, it's also fatiguing, right? Okay, you're in the costume, you're dancing, you're moving around, and you're sweating and trying to do all this stuff and remember your blocking and all the things that go into it, right? But you're all there to work for this one thing. And that is so beautiful, and that's energizing. And when you know that you're doing that, yes, it fills you, so you can get through whatever you need to get through because you know what the purpose is. And everyone in the Box family, and I'm sure it's same with the Barney family, knew what the purpose was.
Wow.
And that's magnificent.
Yeah,
Well-
it's the truth. Every one of them. One of my favorites. We get very tired, and there'd be cameramen that, because you're just standing there and catching your breath and all that, and they'd be doing hand signals, to help you make sure you're just. There's all that little stuff that you just. Everyone was present. No one was just showing up for a paycheck, right? We all have to make money in this industry.
Right.
Wow.
But that was not the number one motivator for anyone on that set.
No,
it
it's
sounds
not.
like the same for your set.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Not at all. I mean, just everyone was there, and that's such a wonderful feeling to work with people, to spend time with people in general who are there with purpose, and it's a common purpose, and that purpose is for goodness. So, yeah. Absolutely.
Now, what was it like? Because I was watching something with you guys, and we went through the same thing. Obviously, that the kids on the set have to go to school, so there's laws involved and all of that.
Yep.
So you have to be, as an adult, you have to be really on your game.
Yes.
Because there's so many takes you can do and things like
Right.
the worst thing that ever happened is if I blew a take.
Right.
Right. Because it could have been the one when the kids
There's a man with experience, right? And you know it. Then I would joke about that. Say we have to be on all the time, and you like three different. It's like, oh, you got to be on. So yeah. So the way we did it, like I'm sure we had the kids all come. We had 3 kids per episode, so we have 6, and we do 2 episodes a day because because of the labor laws, you can only have them work for half a day. All 6 would come. The morning group would go to set, the other group would go to school, and then we'd have lunch, and then we flip flop. But so we were shooting 2 episodes a day. We were working on 2 different episodes a day. But we knew we had to be on point. But the kids, it wasn't really difficult because we had, again, so much help. The kids were fantastic. All the kids were fantastic. And we had one unsung hero that I want to say publicly.
Wow.
Sharon Carlson, who was
what's his name? What's that? Wow.
Talent coach, director for the kids, and just such a talented vocalist and actor, and working with kids to help them relax and find authenticity in their performance. people like that just made our job so easy. So I love Sharon Carlson, and I love them all. And but with just in that area with the kids, that was her domain. And you add fantastic little actors, wonderful people come with wonderful families, wonderful, loving, supportive families, because that's a big part of it.
Wow.
You know, there's so, I can't stress this enough. Viv and I are the face of the show. But my goodness, the 75 other people, from the editors, the writers, the parents, the teachers, the everyone, the art department comes like, it wouldn't, if you love the show, you love it because of them,
Okay.
right? Because of all of them. And so, anyway.
No, I love it. I absolutely love it. Did you ever get a chance to meet fans of the show outside of it?
Yeah, yes, I still do. It's amazing what has happened. Like, I mean, ever since, so the first time we got to go out was Viv and I hosted these Playhouse Disney live tours.
Wow.
After one of the in between the seasons, and we got to go out for the first time into the country and talk about thousands of people showing up to see these things. Like, again, you know it very well. That was the first time we were like, oh my God, it was just so wonderful. It was so wonderful to see all the families and yeah, really magnificent. So that's the first time it hit us. And then as the show was on the air more and more, you know, just being out in public, people would come up and say wonderful things, always loving, always sweet. And so, you know, the show ran, you know, for a lot of years. I think it was 7 years every day.
Wow.
But, you know, even in recent years, well, ever since, everywhere I go, even with a mask on, right?
Wow.
I go into a Home Depot and I have a mask and a Costco, and they're like, oh my God, Tony, you know, I'm like, oh, how do you even know?
Wow.
This audience, the parents, the kids who are now adults and have kids of their own,
right?
They floor me. They reach out with so much love, just love, and they've been consistent. And this whole, like you mentioned, looking at TikTok, that whole thing.
Bam.
Who knew? That was because of my daughter, you know?
Mm-hmm.
You know, like my daughter, you know, called me up and said, hey, they told me this whole story about what happened and they didn't believe it. And would you say something? And I had heard of TikTok from a really good friend, Dave Hoffman. And his daughter, Hope, had mentioned it to him. And Dave Hoffman is talk about VO, like VO legend, VO king.
Wow.
I love that guy. He told me about it because his daughter, anyway. And so I'd heard of it, but I knew nothing about it. I wasn't involved. And so,
which I heard about during the news report, which I said earlier in the episode. Continue on.
Daughter mentioned it to me and asked me if I would say something, and then the whole thing just amazing. So yeah, the fans have been consistently for 20 plus years.
Wow.
Just
well, as I'm telling this right now, nearly 4 years. Continue on.
Amazing, loving. I'm so really grateful. I mean, you have to know it. You feel it. You get it. Like when people, you know, find out who you are and what you've done. I mean, gosh, your legacy is amazing. It's amazing. It's the legacy.
It's an honor, though, right? It's
yes.
Yeah. I mean, it changed my whole life. It absolutely, and I mean, and I don't mean by the success of the show. I mean by what I saw from the good of kids and what they taught me and love and kindness and all the things we talk about. I mean, I saw things I never thought I'd see before, right? Going into hospitals and seeing 6 kids that are fearless, and we've done Make-A-Wish kids, and the kids at the show, you know, that would say, "Daddy, I love you," and hug them and kiss them, and even their parents are like, You know?
Wow.
So
It's amazing.
it really is incredible.
You know, love. That's what I
Exactly.
say. The power of love. You know, that's all there is. That's
That's
all
all
it
it's only.
is. Right? Nothing. There's
What is
nothing
it?
more. That's all there is. That's all it is. Right? Nothing. There's nothing more. Ah, we are
It's
very
really that
fortunate.
simple, isn't it?
It is. It is that simple. We make it more complicated. You know.
Mm-hmm.
You know. You've heard the saying. You know, there are only two emotions: love or fear, and only one of them is real,
Mm-hmm.
and that's love. You know. Um. Yeah, love. So I there's just so much love. There's so much love, and I think, you know,
Yeah.
there was a point where, you know, like that sort of like, it's not cool to be about love. It's not cool
Yeah.
to stand in love. It's so, I don't know, woman, whatever. It's like, hey man, you know, I'm gonna stand in love every single day, even when it's hard, even when it doesn't feel good.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
know, and if you think that doesn't take courage or strength, there is nothing wimpy about standing in love when it doesn't feel good,
Exactly.
right? So, but the power of it, you see it in children, and the more that we can encourage that, instill that in children, and stand it and represent it as adults, they need to see that, you know,
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
they need to see that
Absolutely.
demonstrated, and
Absolutely.
you know, so you being able to do that, to I mean, again, I applaud you. This is me applauding you.
Well, I thank you, but I would applaud you back because I know, you know, watching and seeing what you've done, and I've seen things you've done since the show, and you're doing the same thing. You can just see the authenticity, and it's just so important. It's so important to have people out there doing this and understanding this, and you know, what I love talking about love is that I think people are getting more comfortable doing it.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
In the '90s, it wasn't comfortable to tell someone I love you for whatever reason.
Mm-hmm.
So I think you're seeing more of that, which is excites me.
Yes, it is very exciting, and yes, I agree. I see much more of it. I see, yeah, we are living in some wonderful times.
Exactly.
We are
Totally.
living in some wonderful times. Sure, there's enough out there where people might say the opposite. Okay, that's fine. It is also true that we are living in some amazing and wonderful times. And you know, sitting in gratitude about that, and reinforcing that, because we get to decide, we get to choose. It's always a choice, right?
Always choice.
Always a choice.
Exactly.
And, you know, yeah, I keep saying it over and over, but it's just gratitude. You know, talking about authenticity again, and you'll find that some of the most impactful people in life, they, what you relate to, there's technique, there are technical aspects of things. When you watch a musician, listen to a musician, or watch a dancer, or see a painter, or anyone do anything, when they do it with passion and authenticity, that's way more impactful than technique.
Wow.
Right? Technique, yeah, it matters, but it only goes but so far. So I think we're having the Olympics now,
Yes.
right? You are impressed with technique, but you're moved by passion,
Exactly.
right? When you see someone going for it, it's that expression. And I've been fortunate to work on so many different areas, so many different levels, so many different areas, on the stage, off the stage, front of the camera, behind the camera. And I have such a strong appreciation for every role. And I've been able to work with some really fantastic artists. And one of the things that I've seen watching them and being really close,
Yes.
right, is their authenticity, their true dedication to the audience, what they're saying, and their true desire. Some of the best ones, the strongest ones, really care about what they're doing. They really care about the audience. They really care about what they're saying. They take it as a responsibility. They know what they're saying, and they really care, and it's genuine. And those guys connect with their audience because we all know truth. We all know truth, right? And truth is not up here. It's in here, right? So that's just, again, encouraging all of us from the time we're children as best we can to be who we are, to be authentic, to be our true selves.
Yes.
And let that go into all these areas, you know? You play, I know you do a lot of things. Another thing that I found that we have in common. So talk about just getting into so many different things and exploring these different areas, whatever speaks to you. I know you're into photography. You're a photographer, right? I always loved cameras and things, and a few years ago really got into, you know, photography just because it feels good.
Okay.
No, you know, there's no in order to. It's simply just because it feels good. When we're younger, you talked about what happens from the point that we're children and what happens when we become adults. One of the things that we do is we limit ourselves. When we're young, we go to school, and during the course of the day, you study 7 different things.
Okay.
Right? Math, science, reading, you know, everything, history. And you're used to doing that.
Yeah, it's part of school subjects. Continue on, anyway.
And you go to college, right? And if you do that and you decide to do that, and yeah, you study different subjects and blah, blah. It's when we get out, then we think, oh, I've got to define one thing and do this one thing. So we're no longer expanding. We're no longer learning. You don't study math because you want to be a mathematician. You don't study literature because you want to be a writer. Or you do it because it enhances you, right? But we get into this thing that we think, oh, I'm supposed to do this one thing and that's it. Like, and if I don't do this thing as well as I think someone else is doing, then that's not for me.
Exactly.
We limit ourselves. And I think we do ourselves such a disservice because we can learn and grow just because. Look, if it doesn't make me money, there's no point in doing it. Right?
Makes sense.
And I think we cheat ourselves. So I think we can learn a lot from we learn so much from children, and we can learn so much from being in touch with that purity and that openness from childhood and carrying that through into our adulthood.
Good job, Tony. That was a big example right there for the past 100 episodes of Purple Road. So to make more sense, even though I did react to the past 100 episodes of Purple Road's podcast and nearly 18 episodes, 23 episodes of Purple Tales, excuse me, anyway. But not Mixed Tales, Mixtape Lodge, and nor as Pushing Cases at all. But that's what I'm saying. Anyway, continue on.
To that point, it's interesting that you found out that about me. I went back to school at 42 to learn how to do photography.
Yeah.
Wow. And I met my mentor, who is one of my favorite people on this planet. We talk about shout outs. I have to give one to Vernetta Thomas.
Yeah.
Who is the most incredible photographer. And she was a paralegal who decided she wanted to do something later in life. And she went into the creative world in the photography and changed, you know, at 40 something years old, I started seeing the world differently.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I already had a creative eye, but she got me to use it even more and opened up this new world to me that was incredible. So
good for you.
For you. It was just, I have a camera, I should go learn. And look what I stepped into. So,
and you're a Canon shooter?
I'm a Canon shooter.
Canon shooter.
Wow.
Yeah. Come on.
Okay. Yeah, I'm a Canon shooter, and I use Fuji as well.
Okay.
For the mirrorless. Sometimes
right.
With a smaller camera and do that, but yeah, I've been a Canon person all along.
Just the colors, right, and the feel. Yeah.
It is.
Mm-hmm.
It is. Well, now I need to see some of your work, and so we'll have to do
We'll have to just have
Wow.
You know, it's I shoot get for the joy of it, and I love capturing people and showing people how beautiful they are. Like so you and we're having this conversation. You probably don't realize how beautiful you are, right? You can't see
Wow.
how beautiful you are. You can't see the thousand different expressions you've made during the conversation. And I love that a camera can catch that one moment and go, look at you, you're magnificent. I
Wow.
love finding that. I love finding that with people. You know, like look at how magnificent you are.
Wow.
You know, that's really exciting to me. And I love that the camera can do that.
It's funny you say that because that's what I say to when I'm doing portrait work.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I say to them. Give me the look when you walked in this room and I first met you, and you had that big smile. That's what I want.
Yeah.
Just when you were being you and you weren't thinking of the camera, you weren't thinking anything else. That's what I want to see because you just showed me your best you right there. When you walked in, all of a sudden I picked this big thing up, and now you're panicking and worried and all this stuff, and I don't take good pictures. I'm like, you do.
You do.
Absolutely, every single person does, and it's funny the thing we keep talking about it, but the things that block us, stop us from being us.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And there's nothing more wonderful than being us. Right? That's our job. And there's only one us. There's no such thing as competition. Like
Yes.
That's an illusion. You cannot
Thank you, Tony. Thank you. There's no such thing as us. Yeah, I agree with that. Continue on.
There's no such thing as competition. Like that's an illusion. You cannot compete because you cannot be someone else. And
Yes.
but I said that no one else can be you, right? Like no one. Only you can be you.
Only you.
And the journey is being you. You finding that, and only you can define who you are. So yeah. Anyway, photography and it's all creativity and expression and that journey, that exploration and love, man.
I can't even tell you how much I've enjoyed talking to you, Tony. This has been such a pleasure.
Thank you. Likewise, Carrie.
I got to ask real quickly as we're wrapping up here, but what are you doing now? What's next for you?
What's next is every magnificent thing the universe has planned for me.
I love it.
That's what's next. I do music. I do voiceovers. I do a lot of learning. I have other projects that I'm, working on that will probably come out later this year. But really, they say, you've heard that saying, you want to make God laugh, tell her your plans. So my plan is to do every magnificent thing the universe has.
Yeah.
I wish I.
Yeah. I saw that the 2018 interview of Tony and Viv, and Tony's like, this, and he has a new album coming out in 2018. Like, that never happened. I didn't see Tony's music at all, and in the future I had. But oh well, I tried. Continue on.
I learned that a long time ago because obviously now I don't have any plans. Exactly that. But boy, when you're younger, you planned everything and then realized that it didn't work that way.
No. But it's part of the thing. You can't get there from here. Like you just have to journey. But again, Carrie, thank you so much for having me on your show. I really appreciate it.
Well, it's just been you're someone I've wanted to have on a long time, and I'm so glad you've been here. And it's just been a pleasure having you on this show. Is there any way I could hear a little bit of the goodbye song?
Oh,
Did I put you on the spot?
Sure. Tap here. Maybe I should tap here.
Wow.
So long, farewell to you, my friends. Goodbye for now, until we meet again. I said so long, farewell to you, my friends. Goodbye for now, until we meet again. It's been great to play and sing together in the box, but now it's time to say goodbye. so long.
Wow.
Farewell to you, my friends. Goodbye for now, until we meet again. Goodbye for now, until we meet again.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you so much for watching Purple Roads. Remember to keep your eyes, ears, and your heart open, and you'll find your Purple Road. We'll see you next week.
That was Tony James. Hold on. My mouth's not even moving. Hang on. So that was Tony James, out of the box host from Out of the Box. Purple Rose Podcast episode 101. What do I think about this episode? It was amazing. So far, this episode was a success. I'm going to give a shout out to Tony James for all you care about it. And if you watch this right now, it's for you. That was LJPCBM episode 1541. Hope you enjoy it. Stay tuned. Next is going to be LJPCBM 1542, which is going to be about Purple Rose Podcast number 102, which will be about Naomi Wilkinson, television presenter. Not sure what it was, but go check it out for yourselves. Till next time, so join us, baby. We go out to we soon say out. See ya.
Given unto me this life I'll never take for granted, and given all the time I fail to really understand it, I never sought to meet the maker of reality, the one who gave the life that which is always happening, but I tried all the time. Why was I the one to see things as I do under the moonlight and the sun? Perception is the question and the giver holds the key, but the only worth I've ever found was in melody. I still try